horses have become my personal nature. That's where I go. Anytime I have a chance to get in nature, I want to go be with those horses and just spend time with them. This is the South End herd. They're just out here taking their nap. Okay, here you go. Right there. All I could think about is getting out there. I get that excited about it. And when I do see them, my heart leaps.
1, 2, 3.
It just is really exciting.
4, 5, 6,
I start looking
7,
for
8,
certain
9,
horses.
10,
And then I start
12,
looking for, well, how many are there?
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Something I depend on. Take the time and escape.
Escape what?
Just escape the pain. What do you do when you think you're supposed to be dead? So 2 years I laid in bed and I would say, God, I'm just ready to come home. I've done everything I can do and I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of being in pain. So for 2 years, every night that was my prayer. And after about 1.5 years, I got the message that he was not going to answer that prayer. One thing about being paralyzed was right when it happened in 1982, I used to go to the library and look up anything I could find on the lifespan of a paraplegic male. The gist was most men who were paraplegics due to a spinal cord injury, there weren't very many that lived past the age of 50. So in my mind, age 50 was going to be, well, that's cool. If I make it to 50, I did it. A little slippery. And 50 showed up. There we go. Woo-hoo. That's when things really spun down. All humans, we need something to help us feel alive and feel like we have purpose. The horses have filled that emptiness for me and helped me get away from the darkness that comes from being alone. Sure don't know where they're headed. That seems like a odd direction. I don't think I've ever been out to the horses now that I think about it and remember any pain. It's not like watching regular horses. The first thing you realize, there are a lot of stallions. They don't just walk around and eat like they do in the field. You go out and take 10 horses standing out in Farmer Joe's field, then they're just gonna stand there and eat. But if you go out to the desert and you start watching these horses, within a matter of minutes, there's activity, there's drama, there's violence, there's affection constantly happening all around you. There's a dynamic there that you can't explain. You almost have to see it. Yeah, I was heavily addicted to opiates, and everyone knew it, including me. At that time, I was so loaded on opioids. I had a Neurogesic patch. I took OxyContin on a scheduled basis, and I had Loratab for breakthrough pain. If I took that today, I'd be dead in an hour.
So how long have you lived downtown?
Photography is my opiate. It's just as much a benefit to me as if I was to take medication.
That explains exactly how hot it is. Yeah, perfect.
I didn't quite know where to go with the camera in the beginning. So I would go out onto the street in my manual wheelchair where I push it, and I couldn't go very far, a couple of blocks, but I would go slow, and I was taking pictures of everything on my street.
Yeah, now give me your kind of pissed off look.
When you take a picture of someone on the street and you point a camera at them, there's a connection. I started becoming more courageous. Well, I'm a street photographer. I do photography, and then I put it on my page for if somebody wants their picture, you can go and get it. And so it's there free. So here, can I take one of you?
Sure.
What's your name?
Huh?
And in the beginning, it was a struggle. I was worried. I'm taking pictures of another human being in probably what could be the worst condition of their life. The horses remind me a lot of the homeless people in a way. They live on public land that other people want to use. They're constantly fighting for their freedom and their safety, and they're wild. So there's a real war raging.
We're an agency that manages livestock grazing, wildlife habitat, wild horses and burros, other uses like recreation activities, cultural values, or oil and gas mining. So all of those factors are taken into consideration of why a gather's being done. It's for balance out those multiple uses. This is the Anarchy Mountains. It's part of the Anarchy herd management area. The reality of it is accidents are going to happen. We may gather 500 or 1,000 horses and not have a single problem. Then all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 broken legs, a horse runs into a panel, and we have stuff that happens. You could see that today. That could happen. I hope it doesn't.
There's something free about a horse not having to answer to anyone. It can run as far as it wants, in any direction. It's just free. And I think that freedom speaks to a lot of people.
The law defines them as the living symbol of the pioneer spirit of the West. So what you're looking at is the living symbol of the pioneer spirit of the West. They fit in that environment so well, and they're in that wild place. They're wild horses. What have we done with that? We've forced it into this management, this exploitation of the range. And this is what we think of the living spirit now of our country. It's pretty tragic. There's rage, there's sadness, there's despair, there's frustration. There are some beings that should never be in a cage. You know, it's like the things that keep you alive in the wild, that toughness, that wildness. It's not what works best in captivity. I'm sure there's a lot of human beings that feel this way. And I think that's one of the reasons why we identify with horses so much. Anyone whose history and voice doesn't matter, anyone whose reality doesn't matter, feels like that. We use phrases like homeless. I was homeless. People get angry at me for saying I was homeless. We need to kind of rethink our values. They're still beautiful. And then what we watch happen to the horse, that's also a continuation of our identification. Dirk Johnson. I followed him on Facebook in his healing journey. He was in a place of hopelessness, in that dark space where you have no meaning, you have no purpose. So was I. But his journey requires healing of his soul, and the horses can bring him that. When you've had a life like mine, your healing requires justice. And through the horses, I'm using my voice to find that justice.